So, Michael, the Don't Worry Darling drama has continued. Olivia Wilde and Florence Pugh had a public argument during the filming of Don't Worry Darling when Pugh became frustrated with Olivia's disappearances. Toby Emmerich played referee in a long negotiation process where Pugh decided not to promote the film. Of course, she was also angry about Shia LaBeouf being her co-star, and eventually, of course, It went to Harry Styles, which may have been less problematic, but I think certainly the level of acting went down there.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, but yeah, don't worry, darling. It's incredible. Just such a boring, poor film has got this much press. It is incredible.
Yeah, you know who I blame, and I don't want to sound too controversial, but I blame women. Because if it weren't for them, I don't think anyone would care about Harry Styles. Well, actually, women and Christopher Nolan. I think those are the two people who should be blamed for this drama. Christopher Nolan, of course, because he, I believe, was responsible for Harry Styles' actorial debut.
In Dunkirk. The thing is, though, in Dunkirk, what makes Harry Styles good in that movie in Dunkirk is he doesn't say anything.
I believe at one point he says, and I quote, "He's a fucking Jerry."
That's it. That's his only line. And they did 38 takes or something.
Yeah.
But eventually he nailed it.
Hello and welcome to Select and Reflect, the movie review podcast where we look at films that have come out in the near and distant past. We give them a couple of watches and evaluate them beyond first impressions. I'm your host Michael, and I'm joined as always by my co-host Luke. And this week we are celebrating the 50-year anniversary of the pornographic film Deep Throat. I think this is probably the most interesting movie in terms of the choice to cover this movie. It is, but I mean, having said that, it is a 50-year anniversary, so I know how much you love your anniversaries, so I guess that alone. I do remember when you first told me we were doing this film, I don't think did I react to it? I think in my head I reacted, but I was just okay.
I think you went, from my great memory, from my great recollection, you said, wait, isn't that a porn film?
Oh yeah, yes, that's probably, yeah. And indeed, some might say, by some people's standards, it could be considered a pornographic film. But Luke, regardless, why don't you tell us a thing or two about Deep Throat?
Yes, it's so good that we're back. We've taken a bit of a break.
Yes.
And yeah, if you just look at the last few movies we've done, this is why I love this channel. Because we did Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
Then we did B-Movie. Then we did The Godfather.
Yes.
And now we're doing Deep Throat. So,
we got all our bases covered.
Exactly. So, Deep Throat. Yeah, the thing is, I think the reason why I chose to do this movie, you said it's an interesting choice, the most interesting choice. I chose to do this movie because, like you said, it's different. We have not done a porn film yet. We have not reviewed a porn film on Select and Reflect yet. But obviously, the movie we do next week, this is a spoiler, is Boogie Nights for its 25-year anniversary. And of course, that's about the porn industry in the 1970s and 80s as well, the golden age of porn, as it's called. And yeah, basically, I just looked, I was looking through, I was like, okay, what is this golden age of porn? What movies were released around this time? And then one of them, or the first major one, was Deep Throat.
Yeah. And you could have made yourself sound so much more innocent there by being like, okay, so what is this porn thing I've just found out about for the first time?
Yeah, and so I was like, oh, Deep Throat, so when did that come out? And then I saw 1972, and I was like, wait, that means it's his 50-year anniversary.
It was a sign.
In 2022. It was just perfect. You got the old Deep Throat and then the Boogie Nights combination. So how could we, pass up that opportunity, Michael, to review these two movies? But anyway, Deep Throat is a 1972 American pornographic film that was at the forefront of the golden age of porn. Can you guess what years the golden age of porn was, Michael?
Well,
it's a 15-year period.
Oh, really? See, I wouldn't have thought it would be that long before 1972.
You are correct.
Okay, so maybe it was 1970 to 1985 or something.
1969 to 1984, of course.
Oh, 69.
60, exactly. Just too perfect.
Yeah.
The film was written, I like the written, and directed by Gerard Damiano. I think he's Italian. Damiano.
Yes.
Who was listed in the credits as Jerry Gerard. So that was interesting. Yes. Produced by a guy called Luis Periano, credited as Lou Perry, and starring Linda Lovelace, which is the pseudonym given to Linda Susan Borman. That's interesting, Michael. Have you?
Have I heard of porn stars having pseudonyms?
Did you hear of Linda Lovelace before this movie? Because I think I may have, but I don't know.
So to be honest, I actually knew about this movie before you mentioned it. I knew about this movie I think I knew about this movie ages ago.
I'd heard of the movie. I didn't realize it was an actual pornographic movie.
Oh, okay. You see, well, basically, what I'll say is this: I knew about the movie, and I'm pretty sure that I knew about Linda Lovelace because of her starring in this movie. I never heard of her independent of that. But having said that, I found out about this movie quite a while ago. I think I remember seeing something about this movie, like when I went through my phase of reading all sorts of different books about all sorts of different things at uni. I remember reading about this film in a book on feminism. So
okay,
and when it said that, it mentioned Linda Lovelace. So I've known about it since then.
Okay, do you know what happened to Linda Lovelace?
I do know this, yeah. So basically, I mean, I don't want to give too much spoiler, but as far as I know, she became an anti-porn activist. And she went on to basically argue that like it wasn't really consensual. And I believe a line she said, which I was thinking about when I was watching this, is she said, "People who watch this film are watching me be raped." And I did think to myself, like, does this, like, if that's true, then I am watching a rape right now, which isn't a good thing to do. But then I remembered I've also seen Cannibal Holocaust, where you see animals getting killed, so it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, this is a movie which is still available, and so yes. It is possible we are watching that. It is not depicted as that, obviously, but
yeah, exactly.
Possible. We are watching that.
And I think you can at least say that even if, because some people might say, well, it's a pretty harmful industry, therefore. But to be fair, it's worth noting that I feel like at least all the people, presumably, who were involved in the industry at the time this film was made are no longer profiting from it. So I think we can say we have. And all of that is to ignore the fact that, I want to say this, I did not masturbate to this film. Some might say that would be part of the experience, part of appreciating the film in its fullness. But I watched it in an entirely kind of academic sense. And therefore, even if someone might object to our consumption of this media, we certainly didn't consume it as pornography.
No, exactly. Yes. Exactly. You point out, if Linda Lovelace was raped on this, well, we didn't, as you so delightfully say, you just said masturbate. That's what you said.
Yeah.
We did not gain pleasure from it. We just watched it from an academic perspective. So yeah, we were just analyzing it, cold-bloodedly, Michael, very cold-bloodedly, just analyzing this movie and taking notes. Yeah, but it's
I can't believe we took notes. It's really fun. Like I was thinking to myself, like every single time I wrote a note, I was like, I can't believe I'm doing this.
That's what's so great about it.
Yeah.
But obviously, when you didn't watch it with your fiance then?
No, yes. So I didn't. The funny thing is, literally, like I was completely out of my mind as the thing until like kind of the day, because I think the day before I was due to fly away or leave. You were like talking about how you'd done Pope is Gay. Shout out. And then we kind of had like a whole conversation about like, could I do it before I got back or whatever? And I was like, probably not. Like we had that conversation. And when we had the conversation, I was like, oh yeah, also of course we're going to be doing that. And I was thinking about mentioning it, but I was like, you know what? It's like the last day. There's kind of a certain, I guess, like somberness that comes with like the last day. I'm leaving. It's the end of our time together. What better than a
nice romantic movie?
Yeah. So I thought to myself, I don't think I can even get away with suggesting that we watch it.
Oh no, you should have at least suggested. That would have been funny. I mean, but I would have found that funny if I was your fiance.
No, yeah. I mean, I think to be honest, I think actually she probably. I mean, spoiler alert, I am quite confident she would have said no. But you know what? Maybe I'll mention it to her. After we've done this, I'll mention to her like the fact that it was a consideration and see what she says.
Well, look, we are going to be probably reviewing more of this stuff because there's more, movies for the golden age of porn. This was really the first one. So yeah, maybe the door isn't shut there potentially. But yeah, overall, I just want to go back to what you said about is porn harmful or whatever. What Linda Lovelace said. Again, the issue is with what she's advocating for. With being an anti-porn advocate is that she wants to make it if she were to make porn illegal, the kind of stuff that happened to her would happen to more women, because if you make something more illegal, then people will still want pornography, and then if it's not regulated, it's not regulated, then the women will just be treated worse, which is
it's like abortion.
Yes, exactly. So yeah.
And I mean, it's kind of like drugs obviously is the other example. Like if you can regulate, otherwise
you need it legal.
Legal,
regulated, then that's the best way you can protect women in the porn industry. But anyway, let's talk about who else this movie stars. It is Harry Reams. He's the doctor. After this movie, he converted to Christianity, by the way.
Really? So, because, see, that's interesting. I tell you what, you'd almost think that, like, because Linda Lovelace also, did she convert to Christianity as well? I think I remember seeing that, but
Probably.
maybe. Yeah. So you almost feel like it makes you think maybe pornography was just, like, invented by, it was like a kind of secret ploy by Christians to make it so people would convert, because it seems like a lot of former porn stars do convert to Christianity.
Yeah, I mean, well, back in the day, I'm not sure anymore. But
Yeah.
anyway, Dolly Sharp, this movie also stars, and Carol Connors. The cinematography was by Jay Fernandez. He did a fantastic job, or João Fernandez.
Yes.
The movie was released on June the 12th, 1972, so yeah, just over 50 years ago. And Michael, can you guess the budget for Deep Throat?
Not really. I don't really, like, it's kind of weird to think that porn has budgets.
This is going to be difficult. Well, of course it has a budget.
Yes.
But
Yeah, I know, yeah. Like, so obviously I feel like, okay, so part of my logic here is I think that because of, like, the idea of, Linda Lovelace having perhaps being manipulated or something like that, maybe that would suggest she wasn't getting, like, a high salary. So I'm thinking maybe the actors aren't paid so well, because maybe it was an exploitative, well, I mean, probably it's an exploitative industry now, but...
Yeah, to be fair, I don't. She didn't get paid a lot compared to the gross of the film, but I don't think anybody expected it to do so well. So I'm not sure.
Because I do have my theories about the gross, but yeah, I think it probably costs like 50,000.
Oh, that's a great guess.
Okay, cool. I was about to say that's probably too much, but
no, 47,500. Too much by a bit, but what a great guess. Yeah.
Oh, well done.
Now let's go for the box office, Michael.
Okay.
How much did Deep Throats make at the box office?
So, because I've seen Taxi Driver, I know that you used to be able to watch porn at the cinema. I'm not sure though, because obviously you got to think, like, how many men would actually kind of want to go out and be, like, seen buying it. Like, that's obviously going to count against it. I mean, I'm sure it's over 1 million, but, like, maybe it's like way over. Ooh. All right. I'm going to go for this number, and it could be over, it could be under. I'm going to go for 20 million.
Oh, Michael, so you are over half.
Double.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are over half, because the box office is 30 to 50 million.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, but that, again, an incredible just performance at the box office. If this made $50 million or $50,000, that is a remarkable return on investment. And
yes.
Nobody could have ever predicted it. It would do this well. And we're going to get into why that happened. And it's funny that you said, like, people wouldn't want to be seen going to it.
Yeah, because I'm interested in that now.
Well, it was the thing to do. Like, it was trendy at the time.
It was the Titanic of its time.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go that far. No, but that's the thing. It was something that it was interested. It got people talking at dinner parties. I guess it would be the way.
I suppose, like, in a way, like, I mean, it's kind of weird because I was gonna say it's a bit like 50 Shades of Grey. Obviously, the funny thing is, 50 Shades of Grey is way more tame, and usually you think about, like, things kind of becoming more extreme over time. But like, obviously, whatever. Still, nonetheless, I feel like there's that sense of, like, something which many people would say is kind of trashy and gross and whatever. It's kind of like can still become somewhat acceptable.
Yeah, that's the thing. The 50 Shades, the comparison to 50 Shades is interesting, but of course, pornography exists on the internet online. So you say, things have got,
No, yeah, that's it. Yeah, things are, like, in reality, like, when you look at the, I guess, industry as a whole, it hasn't got tamer.
Yeah. And if you want to spend, like, have high production value for this movie and make a lot of money, which was what they wanted from 50 Shades of Grey, you can't make it a porno, which I think is to the detriment of the movie to make it, like, very safe and so on. And it hurts the overall quality, but certainly, that's playing it safe makes more sense if you want to rake in the money. And this one, of course, they just put this out there, and oh my god, look at the returns. But anyway, so if online pornography for some reason didn't exist in the year 2015, I think 50 Shades of Grey might have gone a lot more risque to drawing that audience. But of course, they didn't. There wasn't the financial incentive to do that like this movie and movies that came after it. So, Michael, did you like Deep Throat?
So I guess, like, no, it has to be the answer. Obviously, like I say, I wasn't trying to enjoy it as, something to, I wasn't trying to enjoy it as, like, a porn. Like, obviously the way that I assume, although this does confuse me with the fact people would, like, go to the cinema and watch it, but, like, like, all I was doing was just kind of passively watching it. And when you do that, of course, there's not really much to enjoy. Obviously, there were dumb moments. There were also some, like, weird moments.
Yes.
And overall, I would
Look,
say I would say it was an experience, but not an
Yeah.
enjoyable one.
Exactly. Well, I don't know about that. It was an experience. I found a lot of it like fascinating on some level. Particularly how there's a lot of talk basically in the Wikipedia article, which we'll go into, about how Deep Throat was like, oh, this was a different type of porno. It was like, it was more professional. And I'm like, oh,
Okay.
it's still so unprofessional looking.
Yeah.
It's still so like shitty. But I guess you'd expect that with the budget. And it just makes me wonder how bad porn movies were before this one. But yeah, no, it is fascinating to see everything. And obviously, you know, it's a very famous movie. And yeah, of course, it was part of the golden age of porn, which I'll get into now, Michael. So the term the golden age of porn, or porno chic, refers to that's what I'm talking about, with people thinking it was trendy. It's like, ooh, it's porno chic.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's pornography, sure, but you know, it's got a little bit of je ne sais quoi to it, you know.
Yeah, like kind of like, I mean, like obviously like a lot of art films, because I was thinking to myself when I was watching, I was like, okay, like I'm watching people like have sex on camera, but I did remember that there is a Lars von Trier film that I've seen where also the people are actually having sex on
A
camera.
nymphomaniac.
Yeah, so I was thinking
Yeah.
to myself, like, oh, you know, like based on the fact that you're actually watching, and like literally, like there's a shot in the Lars von Trier film of a penis actually going into a vagina, like a full-on
Oh, yeah, yeah.
shot of actual sex. So I was thinking to myself, like, oh, clearly that line can be somewhat blurred. You can have a film that does have actual
point
sex
is,
being filmed.
what are you trying to emphasize in that
Yeah,
scene?
that's
Lars
it, yeah.
von Trier is kind of doing that, you know,
For it
because
to be
it's like-
artistic.
yeah, to be artistic, and it's like, oh, daring, and
Hmm.
you know, he wants to push boundaries. They're not really interested in that so much. So
Yeah.
it's just, oh yeah, we want to, you know, we can make some money from.
They did want to push Linda Lovelace's boundaries,
Yes.
allegedly.
Allegedly. Referring to a 15-year period from 1969 to 1984, this is the golden age of porn, in commercial American pornography, in which sexually explicit films experienced positive attention from mainstream cinemas, movie critics, and the general public. Yeah, they were basically almost treated like, you know, movies. You know?
Yeah, because I was wondering why it was called like the Golden Age. Like, I was like, what's so special about it? But okay, yeah, so that's interesting. It was more about like the reaction, I guess,
Yeah.
than like the kind of quality.
It had some credibility, you know,
Yes.
these porn movies, which again is incredible looking back and thinking that this movie could have some credibility.
Yeah, it also makes you think about like when you say it makes you think about like Obi-Wan Kenobi in the first Star Wars film, like talking about like how like the Jedi used to be respected like before the Dark Times, and I imagine like some kind of like old 1970s porn producer being like, porn used to be respected before the Dark Times,
Yeah.
and like Linda Lovelace would be like Darth Vader, like a young porn star of mine
All
who
right.
was seduced.
Okay. Well,
And funny.
anyway, that's a good comparison, Michael. Keep at it.
Thank you.
This started on June the 12th, 1969, with, oh my god, that's exactly 3 years before Deep Throat. That's incredible. The release of the film Blue Movie, directed by Andy Warhol. So, of course, Andy Warhol, an artist, a respected artist. If he's producing a porn movie, then okay, so maybe this can be, an artistic kind of movie. I wouldn't say this is, but again, it got people thinking, that these movies could be more than just like shit. Like,
Yes.
again, and somewhat later with the release of the 1970 film Mona, produced by Bill Osco.
Did you just say Moana?
No, Mona. These films were the first adult erotic films depicting explicit sex to receive wide theatrical release in the United States. Both influenced the making of films such as 1972's Deep Throat, starring Linda Lovelace, and Behind the Green Door, starring Marilyn Chambers, and directed by the Mitchell brothers, and 1973's The Devil in Miss Jones, also by the same guy that directed Deep Throat. And so, yeah, of course, you imagine that at the time in the 60s and the 70s, there's this sexual revolution, of course, in America. And that then, of course, translates into art in a few ways, and therefore into movies. So it was to be expected that there would be, the stepping stone from, sexual boundaries being broken, then to, okay, now we're seeing sex on movies in wide release across the United States.
Violence in movies and sex on TV.
Yes, and of course, you have what was that movie? Oh, in '69, The Graduate, which kind of, obviously it's not a porn movie, but it depicts sex, and it was a very popular movie, at the time. And yeah, that again is pushing a bit of boundaries. So the things were getting more daring, in America, and therefore, that would translate ultimately to movies. And also, after mentions by Johnny Carson on his popular Tonight Show and Bob Hope on TV as well, Deep Throat achieved a major box office success, despite being rudimentary by mainstream standards. Yeah, that's the thing. It became something of, oh, have you heard of this movie, Deep Throat? Like I said, a dinner party conversation. That probably wouldn't have been, crazy to hear. Several mainstream celebrities admitted to having seen Deep Throat, including Martin Scorsese, Brian De Palma, Truman Capote. Of course, he did.
I was gonna say, like, a lot of these aren't that surprising.
Jack Nicholson.
Okay.
Johnny Carson. This one is surprising. Spyro Agnew,
That
the
is funny.
vice president. Frank Sinatra, Philip Dresman, Louis Defer. Barbara Walters mentions having seen the film in her autobiography as well. So yeah, a lot of famous people saw it. You know, it was the interesting thing to see. You know, of course, it would have interested some people, and yeah, I think that is part of the reason why it got such. You know, it was so big at the box office. Of course, there's the the porn element, but people, if there was something probably intriguing about it, like, oh, I've never seen something like this before, so I want to go and see it, and basically the government trying to crack down on it, further helped its box office success, which we'll get into.
Yeah, what's it called? The Streisand effect.
That is what it's called. It should be called the Deep Throat effect.
Yes.
So, in 1973, the more accomplished but still low-budget film, The Devil in Miss Jones, was the 7th most successful film of the year, which maybe we'll review next year, and was well received by major media, including a favourable review by film critic Roger Ebert. The phenomenon of porn, the phenomenon of porn being publicly discussed by celebrities and taken seriously by critics, are referred to by Ralph Blumenthal of the New York Times as porno chic. Began for the first time in modern American culture. That's the thing. Once Blumenthal wrote that in his article, porno chic, that's what he called it, and it's in the New York Times, all of a sudden it becomes much more legitimate and it becomes a bit more credible. It became obvious that box office returns of very low-budget adult erotic films could fund further advances in the technical and production value of porn, making it extremely competitive with Hollywood films. There was concern that left unchecked, the vast profitability of such films would lead to Hollywood being influenced by pornography. And that kind of happened, not really, I'd say. I don't think... I think porn directors used, directing porn as a stepping stone to get into Hollywood, and then directed more mainstream stuff after that. But yeah, it's definitely a stepping stone, I think.
We could have ended up with a world where, like, the MCU would have just been about, like, delivering a pizza and then getting in trouble with the teacher.
Probably better movie than, like, I don't know, Black Widow.
Yeah.
Whatever the fuck. Anyway.
Yeah, they sort of kept the word black in there, though.
Black Widow. Hey, that could work, honestly. That could work. I'm so lonely.
Some funeral director.
Yeah. I'm so lonely after my husband died. Yeah. Looks like, again, it kind of writes itself, but anyway.
Yes.
Anyway, however, that's the thing with these movies, they do write themselves, really. However, with the increasing availability of video cassette recorders for private viewing in the 1980s, see, this is what killed the golden age of porn. This is what killed it. What began it was the sexual revolution and people, thinking it's acceptable to see this kind of thing in movies. What killed it was, obviously, video cassette recorders. Video supplanted film as the preferred distribution method for pornography, which quickly reverted to being low budget and openly gratuitous, ending this golden age. So basically they undercut all those big, because at the end of the day, I think, obviously they wanted to add some class to it, ththese porn, directors, they wanted to, because they had the budgets and they had, the availability to do that, but people generally, I think they just wanted to see people having sex. So ultimately, therefore, if you can supply that just at a lot cheaper price, then people are going to go for that. And these big extravagant porn movies aren't just, they're just not going to have the same profitability, and then they'll eventually die, which is what happened. So anyway, so in 1972, back to Deep Throat, a seemingly typical shoestring budget porn film was being made in a Florida hotel, which is, of course, Deep Throat, starring Lena Lovelace. The film would surpass the wildest expectations of everyone involved to become one of the most successful independent films of all time. It caught the public imagination, which met the spirit of the times, even as the self-appointed guardians of public morality struggled to suppress it, and created for a brief moment a possible future where sexuality in film had a bold artistic potential. I'd say that's from a website. I took that description off. Maybe a bit of exaggeration there. Bold artistic potential. I don't know. When you see Deep Throat, do you think, this could be bold? No, I think it's a movie which clearly, look, I don't know what porn movies came before that. It's got an interesting gimmick. That is for sure. And it's got some funny lines. And I guess I don't know why it really captured the public's imagination. Again, porn movies before this one must have been absolutely awful. That's all I can think of. Yeah.
Oh no, who knows? Maybe it's one of those things where actually like they were fine. It's just like people kind of convinced themselves they were better.
Yes.
Yeah, like, people do that sometimes. It's just like something which was always as bad as it is. Suddenly people are like, oh no, now it's good.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll see when we review The Devil Within Miss Jones next year. We'll see if things got better. But yeah. Anyway, I just think on the overall plot of the movie, it's an inventive idea for a porn film. A woman having her clitoris in her throat. That's funny. And it's it's a gimmick, and not much really happens within the movie.
Like it's, let's say, quite thin.
Yes, but the selling point, obviously, it's like, oh, a woman has a clitoris in her throat. That is would you say that is an inventive idea, Michael?
Yes, I would say that's an inventive idea. And yeah, I mean, like, obviously, it does make sense in terms of explaining, like how like sometimes in porn the move to having sex can be a bit, hard to believe. Like, sure, she might be upset that she hasn't got the extra large sausage with her big sausage pizza delivery, but that's no reason for anyone to whip out their dick. It is definitely true in this film that the fact that her whole thing is like not being able to get off means that it's a little bit more, it suspends my disbelief that everyone starts banging. So that's kind of a positive.
Yeah, what's interesting is that Gerard Domeno, initially, so Linda Lovelace was going to star in like another one of his porns, and he didn't know a lot about her. He brought her to the set, and there was the scene where she was giving a blowjob, and I saw his reaction to this in a documentary which was called Inside. Was it called? Oh, Inside Deep Throat. That's what it was called, about the making of the movie and porn, basically in the 70s. Yeah, and it's just so funny. His reaction is like, when I saw what she can do, with sucking that cock, I said, "Whoa, stop the cameras. We got a star on our hands."
I love that. That like, it sounds like the most most convincing kind of movie porn producer thing. Like, I thought you got a future in this business, kid.
Yeah, I know. He was literally like that. Like, stop the cameras. Whoa, this is incredible. This is how she could deep throat a cock. Incredible stuff. And therefore, that's when he got the idea. It's like, this girl can do this so well. So therefore, deep throat. There you go. That's the movie. And well, what's her excuse for having was the excuse for having this or penchant for sucking dick? She's got a clitoris in her throat. Just yes. Perfect. It writes itself. Really, really great idea. Using her talents well, He was a very good director there and yes. Writer, Damio. You put your actors in the best place to succeed. You give. What do they do well? She sucks cock very well. Well, there you go. That's going to be the centerpiece for the movie. He knows.
That's how good directors are. You are right.
Yeah. No, you put your actors in the best position to succeed, and Olivia Wilde could learn something from.
Yes, I was thinking about that. Yeah.
In Don't Worry, Darling. Basically having Harry Styles say a maximum of 2 lines. Anything more, poor directing. Okay, so Linda Lovelace, a sexually frustrated woman, asks her friend Helen for advice on how to achieve an orgasm. Okay, so do you like the first shot of Helen?
Is it you mean the one where she's like getting she's receiving cunnilingus, I believe.
Oh wow, that's such an academic way to say it. Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe instead of saying, like I've said, like suck cock or suck dick, like maybe I should say
pussy.
Well, maybe I should say be more
receiving
academic.
fellatio.
Yeah. When Linda is giving fellatio, there you go. More academic, more professional,
No, yeah, that is how you should say it. No, yeah. Yes, I did like that scene. Although I do want to say now that and I kind of already knew this, the act of cunnilingus is rendered utterly disgusting when you're not remotely horny. Like when you're just watching it and you're just like, and I know this is an aesthetic thing, and I'm sure we'll get onto this in a bit when we talk about the evolution.
Michael, I'm gonna cut when you said when you're horny or whatever.
Okay.
That cunnilingus is disgusting, and then just keep that in. Yeah.
Just makes me sound very gay. But no, yeah, and then also the hair, I don't know. I mean, apparently. I don't know, whatever.
It wasn't, the hair wasn't too bad.
No, yeah, that's true. And I mean, actually, I don't know. At some point, I did want to mention the fact that Linda Lovelace is shaved, and I was like, oh, that's kind of crazy because obviously
she was ahead of her time. In
exactly, yeah, that was kind of interesting. But no, yeah, I mean, I was just watching it. And, this is, I think that's the first kind of explicitly sexual thing you see, and it was at that point I was like, okay, so this is what it's going to be like watching this when like I'm not remotely kind of like enthused by it. I'm just gonna be sat there kind of like slightly grimacing at what looks like not a very pleasant thing to do.
As it's misogynistic, you know.
Yes.
You see a woman's vagina, you know,
Like,
having
ew.
cunnilingus performed on it, and your immediate emotion is revulsion. What is this? That's complete
I know, yeah.
misogyny, Michael. I have to say, some quality fellatio from that guy. We never see him again in the movie. He's gone. But that's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the difference. Like Helen is, you know, a girl that enjoys life. You know, she takes, you know, she takes a man like every, you know, week probably, you know, and she's just having fun. You know, she's a single girl living the single
Girls
life.
just want to have fun.
Yeah, but Linda, you know, she wants that lifestyle, but she can't, Michael. She can't because she can't, you know, get off. Basically, she's this.
She wants
is-
bells and whistles.
Yeah, which we'll get into that. But she is billed, I guess, as this typical girl next door, and I wrote that
Yeah.
down. Apparently, Damio said that when he first saw Linda Lovelace. He's like,
Yeah.
yeah, she's this typical girl next door, and that works better for porn, I think, when you have that, because I think that's more for people watching. It's more realistic, you know. Like I can imagine myself having sex with that girl more than like some
Yeah.
absolute supermodel. But obviously, you know, Linda, she can't get off. You know, she's a very grounded character. You know, that helps the story. I'm kind of being facetious, but I'm kind of not. At the same
No, yeah,
time.
I mean, I do actually kind of agree with you, actually, that, like, the characterization is kind of hilariously, like, appropriate for a legitimate movie.
Yeah,
Like, with the character has, like, a frustration, they have something they want, and then there is a path there.
She
I think
goes-
they could have done with a bit more of, like, a want versus need thing, really gone the full Pixar route. Like, maybe she wants to, like, kind of enjoy vaginal sex, but she needs to realize that she likes deep throat.
Yeah, I mean they kind of do that. Kind of. I'm not. Yeah,
Yeah.
No, they don't go full Pixar on it, which is a shame. But yeah, we obviously then we get a sex party after Helen tries to help Linda, and you know we get some anal as well.
Yes. Sorry, that sounded like really like...
Well, it shows that Linda is open to having sex in more than just her vagina, which is foreshadowing, which I like. You know, it's a good move from the director, wouldn't you say?
Yes, yeah. I was kind of surprised at the anal, because I kind of thought to myself, like, you know, like, I guess it was partially because she did seem kind of innocent, and I was like, okay, so, but she does just go straight to anal. But yeah, like, I was like, I agree, yeah, it does show that there's certain openness, and therefore, I guess, compounds the intrigue of the question as to why she is failing to be fulfilled.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, no, it's good that, and yeah, this is what we're talking about. You know, it's artistic, Michael. It's very artistic. Anyway, the guy who is fucking her is like a typical like 70s porn star as well, which I love.
Does he have a mustache?
Yeah, he
like,
does. He
like
has
a kind of like
full-on-
Italian kind of mustache.
Yeah, a full-on mustache as well, like slightly balding. Great.
Yeah, well,
And
I feel
then-
like it seems to me like every single guy in like kind of old school porn was either
Yeah, yeah.
Italian or Jewish.
It's a stereotype. They have to be like hairy and have like loads of hair. Well, that's the
Yeah.
same thing, obviously, but yeah. Anyway, the music as well, Michael.
Yes, yeah. So actually, you know what? The first thing I wanted to mention about the music, and I kind of skipped over this, but like, because it's one of the first things you hear, and it's like this song, which is like, it's like the da 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 da, which I don't even know where that's from. I feel like it might be by Handel, but like they kind of play that, but it's like a funky jazzy version of it, and like the intro is like do boom 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 do 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 do, and I was like, okay, so like that's an interesting choice. But yeah, obviously they do have like a lot of porno music. I can't really remember the porno music for that exact. There are like the music gets very interesting later on, but I can't really remember what the music was like for the orgy scene.
Oh yeah, we'll get into the music later on. Yeah, the
Yeah.
orgy scene is like something about love or something. I don't know, but it's
Yeah.
nice that they got like interesting music for it. Plus, also Helen getting fucked as well. I love that because the party wasn't even for her. But
Yeah. She was just. I think she wasn't even out to help her friend at all. I think she
know.
was just being an opportunist.
I know, right? She joins in anyway, though. And I did think like they'd changed this later, but the way they shoot Linda having sex is weird because you see her face but never see her getting fucked at the same time.
Yeah, I was thinking that, like, and I was kind of thinking to myself, like, is this like they're not actually having sex?
Yeah, because like this could go into the fact that she didn't want to do it, so they had to,
Yeah.
film around it somehow. I'm not sure, but yeah, it was very weird.
So there was a moment actually where I was thinking to myself, like, because I think one of the other reasons I was surprised at the anal is because I kind of like she does seem kind of innocent and blah blah blah, and I was thinking to myself, like, would the actor really be, or the actress really be down for that? And then I was thinking to myself, I wonder if they use like a kind of stunt double, if you will,
Yes.
for like the anal.
I-
And I was almost wondering, but I could be
Maybe,
wrong to
but I
try and
I
find
didn't
out.
I didn't find anything on that.
Yeah.
I love that being a stunt double for anal.
Yeah.
What
I
a
don't
career!
know.
What a career path.
Yeah.
Anyway, so after a sex party provides no help, Linda isn't satisfied. Her friend says to her, do you want to get off or do you want to destroy a city? And, she therefore goes to a psychiatrist, Dr. Young. She wants to hear, what is it, bells, bombs, and dams bursting. Then the doctor, of course, this funny doctor goes, and rockets, red glare, and then starts singing the US national anthem as well.
Yes. I thought I like how they gave him that kind of charisma.
Yes, the doctor is a comedic, charismatic character, isn't he? And it does really help the movie quite a bit.
Yes, I actually heard somebody, when I say heard, saw, okay, because here's the thing, obviously, like, where we had to watch this film, it wasn't like where we might usually watch films, which is, of course, always purchasing them legitimately via Netflix and Amazon Prime and, other legitimate streaming services. In this case, of course, you can't find this film on those various platforms. So, instead, of course, I had to go onto these sites. I don't even know this, but they have entire sites now for adult content. But I thought to myself, oh, you know what I can do, of course, because, I think most of these sites have comment sections. I can look at the comments, because I bet the comments will be hilarious.
Oh, that's a great idea.
You know what the annoying thing is, though? The comments weren't very funny. But I did see a comment that said, to be fair, I was only looking on one site. I don't know, maybe I'll actually... okay, so... Spank Bang?
I just went to the old X videos. That's what
because actually, I bet... See, I think my version was... The thing is, like, several of the different videos had a different length, so I went for this one because it was the longest. And, like, it was only, like, there was I think the one on the next video was 59 minutes. This one was 63 minutes. So, but I think it's just because it had, like, the credits or whatever. Anyway, basically, one of the comments said, you can tell that Linda Lovelace is really in love with Harry Reams. Is that the name of the actor?
Yes.
And I thought to myself, well, I don't really know about that, but, like, it was interesting they said it, and I thought to myself, maybe they're saying that because, like, it's rumored perhaps that the two were infused by each other.
Okay, so I got some comments here on X videos.
Oh yeah, okay, I was interested.
There's a good idea. Big Gricky 69 says, thanks to the Mafia for creating this movie. Because the Mafia, I saw in that documentary, they did control, because, it was illegal. And so the Mafia got their hands on anything that was illegal, which is why you should make things legal so you don't have, these...
Mafia drugs, controlling things.
Yeah, drugs, porn in the hands of, like, criminals or whatever, who could extort people and so on. But yeah, the Mafia basically funded this movie. And then, so the director afterwards, basically, when it was becoming such a big success, he got bought out, so the Mafia could rake in all the money. And if he didn't do that, apparently,
he was made an offer he couldn't refuse.
Exactly, his legs were going to get broken if he didn't.
He would find a horse's dick in his.
Yeah, well, that's the gay father. No.
Yeah, I said actually no. You know what it would be? It wouldn't be. It would be a like he's got like a porn star who has a big dick, and he's like so proud. He's like showing them around. He's like, "This is my porn star. Look at him." and then like he wakes up and he's got the dick in his bed.
That would have been maybe funnier, but yeah, damn it. Anyway, all natural. Look, Weapon X36 says this: all natural tits, natural pussies, natural faces, best porn ever. So
wow.
He's a fan.
He's an appreciator of true porn.
My aunts in the 1980s told me they snuck into a theatre to see this in 1972. Again, people were interested, intrigued. Blew my mind, but it demonstrates how widespread this film was in the popular culture. Good point, Dick Gar.
Yeah.
1979.
Dick Gar.
Yeah. When porn was porn. Wait, is there some boomer thing for back in my day?
Yeah, that's really funny actually.
Back in my day when porn was porn.
Yeah, before the SJW snowflakes took over.
Yeah, with all that.
Now all the porn stars have to declare their pronouns.
Oh god. The masterpiece of the porn masterpieces. After the 70s porn golden age, we did not create any more porn movies. We just imitated the 70s. Okay.
Wow.
It's still...
Actually, I'm really enjoying this idea that there are like hipsters for porn.
Yeah, it still turns me on. Best movie ever. Harry Reams is amazing. A true classic. Comfy 79 says, loves that deep throat performed on this hot, horny cock. And then the rapist. Yeah, people saying, oh, she actually got raped doing this, but she's.
Oh, okay. Good. So there are some people showing up with the. No, yeah. I mean, what's interesting, obviously, about the comment section is
those are downvoted, by the way. Those comments.
Oh, okay. Yeah. The Oh yeah, of course. Well done, X videos defending free expression or whatever. But yeah, I feel like obviously the comments are going to be influenced by the fact that a lot of people are probably just there to watch a famous film. So because I feel like with like other kind of comments on porn, like you'll get loads of things that are like I feel like something I've seen a few times, because you've always got to check some comments.
When you browse
these things.
The websites,
when I browse the comments, is like people like trying to contact the porn stars and being like, hey, Jocelyn James, you should come and suck my dick. It's 10 inches.
They're
like
definitely
stuff like
all
that.
Indians.
I was gonna say Indians, but I thought we don't know.
No.
Anyway, but like obviously maybe they're not doing it there because I think Linda Lovelace is dead.
Oh
but
yeah,
also obviously
that one would be surprising.
Yes, I think she died in a car crash.
Oh, let me see.
Which is like not how you'd expect. You'd expect it to be like a drug overdose or something.
Yeah.
Or the mafia.
Later years in death. Yeah, she was in 2002. She was involved in an automobile accident. And yeah, she was also in one in 1970. And yeah, she died in 2002 at the age of 53.
Yeah.
And
See, actually, that's kind of interesting because there's this thing that sometimes they do on 4chan where they reminisce about dead porn stars, and I always find
why
it
did you
interesting.
go on this website?
I don't know, but like, because the things well, actually, see, there were a few like famous porn star deaths. Like there was a woman who like whatever, it was like this thing where like it was like literally this porn star got cancelled. It was quite a famous story where basically she objected to doing scenes with bisexual men, so basically like men who had done gay scenes.
She died
and like
then.
and loads of people called her like homophobic.
What's
and
she called?
I think she's crap. I feel like it might be Carmen, but that could be totally wrong. Like I'm not actually.
I remember there was I remember reading about that, and then she committed suicide after not wanting to have sex with porn stars who were bi.
But
what a great story.
What was crazy though is that like anyway through this I found out about this other porn star, and like I found out about several. And what was surprising me is that a surprising number are killed in car crashes or like hit and runs. And I was like thinking to myself, because you would think like it would be drugs. Because, it just makes sense to me there'll be a big overlap between, I
think that's the thing. One of the things about the porn industry being regulated, they get drug tested, I believe.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
So yeah, you're not allowed to go, because obviously, hey, if you're drug tested, that ruins the product. Makes it unreliable, especially for the male porn stars, I guess, especially.
Yeah. But no, anyway, so I was like really, I don't know, for some reason there seems to be like someone needs to investigate this weird kind of crossover between porn stars and dying in car accidents.
I don't know. I think it's just a bit of a coincidence, to be honest. But anyway.
Yeah.
So back, I think, what's he called? The doctor, the name of the actor.
Mr. Young? Oh, Harry Reams.
Harry Reams, yes. Harry Reams, I think, does a very good job. And in that documentary, Inside Deep Throat, the director was saying, nobody could play this guy better than him. He was the only guy in America who could play the doctor. And so thank God.
Oh, yeah. I would say he seems like he gives the impression of being a nice, a relatable everyman protagonist.
Yeah, with a bit of charm, a bit of wit. But anyway, he's having a look at Linda, and he sees that she doesn't have a clitoris. So what's going on here? Then, of course, he discovers that it's in her throat. That's where it is. And again, just like a great gimmick. And Linda is upset, and of course I love the line when she says, "Imagine you had balls in your ears." And of course, the doctor says, "Well, then I could hear myself coming." Just a very interesting,
good
funny
dad joke.
Yeah. Just a funny line. But yeah, it's again an inventive idea for this porno, and obviously it's what made it so popular. I think, because it just wasn't any other porno. It was what's this Deep Throat? Oh, this is again, there's something intriguing naturally about that. And the doctor suggests, of course, they try Deep Throats, and we get a great song. This is what you talked about before,
yes,
Michael, in the background which was like Deep Throat, deeper than deep your throat.
Yes.
Don't row the boat.
It sounds like a song. Yeah, it sounds like a song someone's making up as they go along.
Yeah, that's all she wrote. Like, I don't think they were like. I think isn't like it says don't row the boat. I swear, like, isn't like rock the boat like a term for like.
Yeah.
Sex, I think, but that's not.
No, Rock the Casbah is also. I know that Rock the Casbah because it's in the Simpsons episode.
No, I think there's something to do with boats though.
Yeah, I think there is something to do with boats.
I'm not sure. But anyway, basically, maybe that's what it's referring to. But yeah, you're right. It does seem kind of like on the fly, like just trying to write random words with throats. But yeah, I like how they put some effort into it. They could have just done, bam, 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 that kind of music. But no, they went for something a bit more classy. And obviously, Linda, she finally hears the bells, and obviously we get fireworks and rockets as well. Which he I can't remember with the director. He said he went somewhere to get that, and he intercuts it with Linda deep throating.
Yes,
which again, that's an interesting artistic choice, isn't it, Michael?
Yeah, well, it kind of reminds me of like they do it in The Simpsons a few times, where to like indicate sex, they show like like planes or like a train going into a tunnel. That's the classic thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, like it's interesting, but yeah, I think it was a good way to show orgasm. Well done.
Yeah, well, very good way, very well communicated. And yeah, obviously, hey, Linda, she loves it. She asks the doctor to marry her, and that's what happens when you give girls orgasms, which is why you shouldn't do it, because
exactly.
that is what they will do, So you got to be careful.
Then they sink their teeth into you.
Yes, exactly. Got to be careful. But he rejects her. I don't know why. If you were the doctor, would you reject her in this instance?
No, I wouldn't.
She does it. She does it very well. The deep throating, Michael. Let's again. We've complimented her skills before, but she's worked hard on it. She's trained. She's a great professional. And yeah, apparently, again, watching that documentary, there were a couple. It's just so funny to talk about like someone sucking a cock, and this is their reaction. Like one of the producers who was on set, who hadn't seen her, give a deep throat before, was like, when I saw that, I was flabbergasted. Like I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, this girl is incredible. Like they were.
She's going places.
She's going places. Well, that's the thing. She didn't really go places.
That's true.
Yeah, but yeah, no, they really admired her skills, and so yeah, it's impressive. And hey, you can't help what hand God gives you, Michael, when you're born.
Yes, that is true.
What cards you are dealt. Like, so just make the best of what you got. If you got lemons, make lemonade, and that's what Linda Lovelace did, right?
I should call her Linda Lemonade. No, yeah, I mean, definitely. Like, I guess she found out she had that skill.
Somehow.
And yeah, just decided to roll. Yeah, like I guess so. Like, I wonder if she knew that she was like uniquely good at this before, doing like getting into porn, or if like she decided to get into porn and then like she found out like, hey, you got something.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that was the case, or maybe it was just practice. Like I said, like how you look at like Cristiano Ronaldo. Like he was like so committed to being like the best footballer ever. Like he went from like a skinny kid who was not really a goal scorer to one of the best goal scorers of all time. Because he practiced day in day out. Maybe that's what Linda Lovelace
or like
did.
A Knight's Tale, where he really wants to be a jouster.
Yeah, or that. Basically, maybe she every night was doing this. Deep throating, and hey, look, it paid off. She got $1,200 from it. So.
No, it's true. Yeah, $1,200 in 1972 money, though.
I know, right? That's basically $80,000 today. So
yeah.
Meanwhile, the doctor, obviously, he chooses not to, because I think he's already having sex with his nurse, so that's why.
Yes.
Yeah, like
the nurse is a very random character.
Yeah, no. He's a respectable monogamous man. Is Dr. Young? He only did that to help her. For medical purposes. That's it. The doctor documents her exploits while repeatedly having sex with his nurse, which is just funny.
Yes.
Like, does she even have a line in the movie? I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either, actually.
He's just having sex. Again, it's funny, we get this montage of Linda fucking people, and then she meets this guy called Wilbur, who, again, we haven't met before. And again, I just love how shitty this movie is. Like, he just turns up and he's like, this guy who has a fantasy of raping a girl. And
yes.
That's... Linda's like, Linda's like, no, I still want to have sex with you. And he's like, okay, I'll have sex with you, but remember, I'm raping you. Which
yes, it's the whole thing is bizarre because it's like he wants her to pretend that she doesn't like it.
I know, but that's the thing. It's some dark comedy, of course.
Yes,
but I find that funny. I find that kind of thing funny. It's just like
I could agree with that.
Yeah, and she's just being so sweet, and he's so timid. But
like it works like the fact that he is just like so like has no idea what he's doing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, I want to be this big dangerous guy. Yeah. It's a funny scene. But yeah, I just like how he's not introduced up until then, and apparently he's this important character because of course Linda, he asks Linda to marry her, and then this is a great, again, an inventive idea or a funny idea. Linda rejects his marriage proposal, saying the man I marry has to have a 9-inch cock. And then, of course, Wilbur, he's like, oh, damn it, I'm 4 inches away from happiness. So you think, oh, his cock's too small. So he calls up the doctor and says, oh, can you help me here? And then he gets off the phone. He's like, yes, the doctor says he can cut it down to any size that he wants.
Yes.
There's a great movie.
Yes, that was a really good twist. It's what they call in comedy a subverted expectation.
And, then, of course, she deep throats and marries him. And that is true love right there, for sure. And, and the movie ends with the line, the end, and deep throat to you all. Which so yeah.
Yes.
Again, I think to sum up on the movie, we have some like funny lines, funny moments. But yeah, there isn't really a plot there. It's incredibly thin. But you know, it's people aren't really there for the plot, right?
No. Yes. I mean, like, they're literally, yeah, they aren't. Like, there's a joke about, like, with, like, shows like Game of Thrones, like, there's, like, the meme of, like, oh, I watch it for the plot, and then you show, like, you know, something very sexual happening. But in this case, literally, like, you don't watch it for the plot. Like, this wears the fact that the plot's shit. It's like a badge of honor.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Well, not really badge of honor, but yeah, I will say it's like, oh yeah, who the fuck cares really? And that's what's so funny about people saying, oh, this was a real game changer. It's like, I mean, it's got some funny, it's got some funny lines, it's got some, you know, funny moments, and there is a kind of a very thin plot there. And of course, you know, the reason why Linda Lovelace deep throats, that makes sense logically within the film, and that's the gimmick and it sells. But yeah, it's still pretty bad. And yeah, in a 1973 column, Roger Ebert wrote, "It's all very well and good for Linda Lovelace, the star of the movie, to advocate for sexual freedom, but the energy she brings to her role is less awesome than discouraging. If you have to work this hard at sexual freedom, maybe it isn't worth the effort." So that was Ebert being harsh. But of course, as we know from the background to the movie, there could be a good reason why she wasn't enthusiastic. Yeah, again, she does. I think she does well in the role of, you know, again, the girl next door. She's kind of innocent, but yeah, certainly she's not that enthusiastic, which again maybe makes sense. A review in Variety stated that although the film doesn't quite live up to its reputation as the Ben-Hur of porno pics, which,
oh wow,
interesting, it is a superior piece which stands ahead above the competition. And how bad must the competition have been? That's what I keep thinking.
Yes.
Al Goldstein wrote a rave review in his Screw magazine, saying, "Oh, this was the fucking Jewish guy from the documentary, who was like, you know what we say in Hebrew, we call that a mitzvah, or Israel, you know."
Oh wow.
Yeah, he said the movie was a mitzvah or whatever, and he's like, "Oh, I got an erection while watching this movie. You know, nowadays I'd need 5,000 pills to get an erection, but back then I was a young virile man." But yeah, he said of this movie, Al Goldstein, "I was never so moved by any theatrical performance since stuttering through my own bar mitzvah."
Oh wow.
Yeah, so there you go. He liked it. You don't agree with that, I guess, Michael?
No, yeah, I can say that I wouldn't describe it as a moving film.
I want to ask, is this a better movie than, a better porn movie than Modern Pornography? Because of course you had those boomers in the comments, you know, going like, back when porn was porn, which is just such a funny thing to say. But
yes,
like the modern trends in porn, I think, are like step siblings and so on, and.
Yes, which is weird.
Yeah, it is weird. It is very weird. And my theory is it's just lazy because basically they're already in the same house. So, like, if you're writing it, it's like, oh, these two people, or, oh, yeah, that's why they're in the same house. You don't need to be creative at all. They could just be living together, which makes things, you know, very easy to write. That's what I've thought. I don't know. You know, there's the inventive thinking, you know, has gone for pornography. You know, perhaps the guy's right back when porn was porn in terms of it being, you know, a bit more, you know, creative. You know, when is the last time there was a porn movie with a clit in a girl's throat, Michael, or anything close to that?
What about Vagina at the Back of Your Neck?
I can say, when did that come out?
It's definitely kind of old.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like I have two things to say about like this compared to contemporary pornography. The first thing is that I think with porn now, you do get like people clearly having fun with it. By which I mean like just like coming up with like the most ridiculous, insane things. Like the other thing I was thinking about, because you mentioned like the stepsister thing and all that sort of stuff, which is definitely true. But like I feel like there's a new thing which is like the women getting stuck in things. I don't know if you've seen this, but like I think like the thing I saw
that is a very well known meme. Yeah.
Yeah. So like,
is that creative? That seems like the
opposite. No, I don't think so. Yeah, but I don't know. Like the thing is like it's silly. Like and like often it's like totally ridiculous. Like you'll see things like. I feel like I've seen like a lot of like gifs of things like this, where it's like people, like a woman will be trying to, I don't know, like pull something out, and then she'll fall backwards, and like I've literally seen like a woman go like through like drywall. But yeah, basically that's that. The other thing I want to say is like obviously,
so you can say it kept its silliness.
Yes, yeah. I saw like this being mentioned as an example of like extreme pornography, and I did kind of think to myself like, okay, if this is extreme pornography, yeah. So it was like I think I saw, because I actually did look up this film on Wikipedia. I did avoid kind of the you know things that I've already kind of guessed slightly wrong, but yeah. basically I didn't look at the budget and that stuff, but yeah, basically I was looking at this film and I saw something about like it created a controversy around extreme pornography, and I thought to myself like, this film doesn't seem very extreme. It seems like it's basically just showing people have sex. And I did think about like how like now there is like, I mean, it's just all over the place. Like I feel like and like I was kind of thinking about like like the fact you mentioned, oh, she has a real talent for deep throat. And I was kind of thinking about like nowadays I feel like you could just like you could watch any video and just see like some real aggressive deep throat going on like it's nothing, just like full on taking the whole thing, making the bubbles, as Dylan would say.
Show me the bubbles. Yeah. To give a good comparison against the sports, it's like back in the day, like if you were a decent 3-point shooter, then like that was something. Like Linda Lovelace, like giving a deep throat, in the NBA. If you shot threes, well, that was a unique talent. Now today, everybody has to shoot threes. Like every porn star has to be a great deep throater. Otherwise, you're just not making it in the industry. You're just not. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say it's like how like everyone for a while thought that it was like impossible for a human being to run a mile in less than 4 minutes. Yeah. Because like people have been running for ages and no one had ever done it.
Standards improve.
Yeah. Now, and suddenly somebody does it, and now everyone can just do it. It's like standard.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, humanity gets better and better and better. And yeah,
I can't believe he was saying this about deep.
Yeah,
like humanity's just humanity's on the ascent.
The cocksucking has improved so much, and at least in the porn industry, it probably has. Yeah.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's how it compares to modern porn.
Overall, yeah. I mean, like the thing is, like I guess I'd say if you like compare it on two levels, like in terms of like I guess appealing to my baser instincts, I feel like modern porn kind of just has to win, because like.
Well, it's better shot than...
Yeah. and then there's also like just the fact of like, I guess this film, like the fact it's aged with like the porn music and stuff like that, it makes it very difficult to take it seriously.
Obviously, yeah. I mean, that's, that people have made fun of the music in porn movies for ages. I think actual porn movies are kind of dead as well, because it died when, the actual porn movies died when you could access porn on the internet so easily.
Yeah, and also like you can, like, being able to skip through things. Like, who watches the narrative, the plot?
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's no need to do that anymore. People just skip to the good bit, Yeah. And you could do that.
And like now they've got like they do have like plenty of porn which doesn't even try like what's it called?
Oh yeah.
Casting? Like the cast. Yeah, you heard about this thing they have, the casting couch.
Yeah. Again, that's just that's the thing. That's all people need. Like you get undercut until eventually you can't do high end production value anymore because people.
Yes.
Yeah, because people can access it easily on the internet. So how are you going to make people pay for something that is very again high end?
That's what I always find weird about like animated pornography. I'm like, I mean, ignoring the question of like, you think there's certainly less of a market for it.
I mean, who knows?
Well, I don't know. Yeah, maybe not.
Japan has a very high population.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's it. Yeah. Because and I think to myself, like, it obviously must take massively more effort to just like animate
the Japanese
some Japanese, some like full on like kind of massive anime titties.
Well, it's why their birth rate's going down because it's not. That's what all they're interested in over there.
Yeah, and also all their vaginas are blurry.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, maybe that's an issue. Also, I just went on the xhamster.com for the deep throat comments, and the first comment I saw was from Sijila, who says, "Love from Iran."
Oh wow, that's appropriate.
Respect. Love this stuff. 69 says the all-time classic. Naughty Greg says hate what she went through, but love this sexy woman.
That's a really interesting take. Like yeah, sure, it was really bad, like all that.
Yeah, but somebody commenting from Israel there saying it's a crime of what happened to her. Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So it is interesting that like you're getting this quite moralistic kind of takes from the porn purveyor community.
Yeah, I'll look back at those comments in a bit, but yeah, basically let's talk about the reaction in terms of the legal reaction, because of course America, even though there was some sexual liberation going on, a lot of people weren't happy with this. There was a report commissioned, I think, in the late 60s about, is pornography actually damaging to adults? And the answer was no, it is not. And of course, the Nixon administration completely ignored that, like a lot of right-wing politics. The science says this, well, let's just throw it out and stick to being reactionaries. So yeah, they didn't relax any rules. So yeah, the deep throat was basically still could be taken down, basically. And that is what happened. But then in August 1972, a jury in New York found the movie not to be obscene, which is interesting. They decided, but prosecutors...
He's like, I see worse stuff than that on the subway.
Yeah, literally. Prosecutors decided to charge Mature Enterprises, the company that owned the World Theatre, for promotion of obscene material, taking them to trial in December. During the trial, a psychiatrist testified that the film portrayed acts that were well within the bounds of normal behaviour. Yeah, I would say that's true. A film critic testified the movie had social value because it showed sympathy for female desires, because the script contained humor, and because it was filmed with clarity and lack of grain. That's funny to hear. But yeah, I guess it
Wow.
just shows sympathy for female desires, I guess.
Yeah.
Even if the female desire isn't really realistic, having a clitoris in your throat.
No, yeah, like I mean,
yeah.
obviously, yeah, it shows her being like, I want to come. Which,
Hey,
to be fair,
at least there is
that's-
focus on the clitoris, because I did see
Yeah.
that in that
Yeah, that's true.
in that
In documentary,
that's the documentary. There was the judge who was like, "I'm sorry, what is the?" I don't think he said what's the clitoris. Anyway, there was some, there was explanations needed for what's the deal with this thing. So yeah, again, that maybe it helps spread awareness of of that. So yeah, this movie is actually feminist if you think about it.
yeah. Also, I mean, it shows a guy, the doctor, at first struggling to find the clitoris, and I think that's going to be very relatable for a lot of ladies. Am I right? Am I right, ladies?
Okay. Yeah, and of course the script did contain humour. Yeah. Conversely, in response to a claim that the film was a spoof of sexual behaviour, a New York University professor said, "I do not see how you can spoof fellatio by showing continuous performance of fellatio." Good point. On March the 1st, 1973, Judge Joel Tyler ruled Deep Throat to be obscene, issuing his opinion on the film as this feast of carrion and squalor. Wow. You need to get laid, man. An idea of decadence and a Sodom and Gomorrah gone wild before the fire.
It makes me wish Ben Shapiro was around.
I know, right? Judge Tyler fined Mature Enterprises $100,000, equivalent to $610,000 today, which is later reduced on appeal. The ruling would inadvertently contribute to the film's becoming perhaps the most popular X-rated movie of all time. Again, the Streisand effect. Yeah. Dershowitz said that in the documentary, by the way. Alan Dershowitz was in the documentary, which is funny. And yeah, he was saying like, oh yeah, they tried to ban it and it made it the most popular movie ever. I think he was on like the defense team for something to do with it. Of course, he's always got his fingers in the pie, does Dershowitz.
Damn Dershowitz.
Yeah. Anyway, oh yeah, and he had this Southern lawyer saying, "Deep Throat attacks the very core of our being." I remember that as well. That was,
Oh wow, that sounds like something. Yeah, that sounds like a very Southern lawyer thing to say.
yeah, exactly.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury.
Yes. So of course that's that's what made it a success. But getting on to what some of the internet comments have talked about with
Yes.
with Linda Lovelace, of course, this is something that needs to be discussed because unfortunately everything might not have been consensual. In her first two biographies, Linda Borman characterized having made the film as a liberating experience. However, in her third and fourth, she wrote a lot of biographies,
Yes.
both of which were written after she had come out with her stories of sexual abuse, rape, and forced prostitution in the porn business. She charged that she had not consented to many of the depicted sexual acts and that she had been coerced to perform by her abusive then-husband, Chuck Traynor, who received $1,250 for her for her acting. That's it. That's all she received. Which again, the movie grossed 60 million. Oh no, sorry, 50 million. But yeah, I don't think anybody expected it to gross that much. She also claimed that Traynor threatened to kill her, brandishing handguns and rifles to control her. So yeah, Traynor was her boyfriend. He made her do these scenes, with brandishing guns and so on. That seems to be the accusation. And yeah, basically Traynor was apparently very jealous of the fact that she was deep throating and doing it very well. And
he wanted to be a good deep throater.
and well, not on him. So the day that they filmed that first deep throat scene with the doctor, they sent him off to Florida or another part of Florida to get some more reels. So he wouldn't be there. So Linda felt more relaxed apparently doing the scene.
Yeah, what a weirdo! Like, imagine like coercing your girlfriend into doing porn and then getting jealous. He really didn't. He lacked. He like, what's that word? Like, kind of that sense of like the consequence of your actions.
Yes.
He'd be there like, I want you to go and do some porn, and then he'd be like, oh, I'm so jealous that she's banging those guys.
I have heard of like people who, or obviously boyfriends who have girlfriends who are porn actresses being jealous of them. I assume it's a natural reaction, which is why it's weird to date somebody in the porn industry if you're not also a porn star. But for him, he seems to be like within the porn industry, as a director or producer or whatever. So like, not to be mad at your girl for doing that. I mean, like, yeah, this guy was.
You get what you what's it called? Win stupid prizes. That's
exactly. You might just get what you wish for. In 1986, Linda testified before the Massey Commission, and she said, of course, that line you mentioned at the start of the review, virtually every time someone watches the movie, they're watching me being raped. In the Toronto Sun on March the 20th, 1981, she said, it is a crime that the movie is still showing. There was a gun to my head the entire time. course, yeah, referencing Trainer. While the other people present on the set did not support the gun charge, again, maybe it was like a private thing, doesn't necessarily mean she's a liar. Both Trainer and Damiano confirmed in interviews that Trainer was extremely controlling towards Linda Borman and also hit her on occasion. In the documentary Inside Deep Throat, it is claimed that bruises are visible on Borman's body in the movie, which, to be honest, is hard to tell because the camera is so bad. Quality is, but yeah.
Maybe that's why.
Yeah, but yeah, I think definitely like she was abused and she had a torrid time, which again is why, again, I go back to what I said at the start, which is why this kind of stuff should be regulated like it is nowadays. Of course, I imagine girls are still exploited somewhat, but you can imagine that if it wasn't regulated, if it wasn't legal, if it was pushed more underground, the kind of shit that happened to...
it would be way more abusive.
Yeah, the kind of shit that happened to Linda Borman would be way more widespread. So yeah, that's what I'd say to that. And yeah, it is. It does meet. Of course, the movie now has a very different reputation. It went from a kind of a fun porno chic. Oh, have you seen this? This is intriguing. So, it shows the dark side of of pornography. Back in the 1970s. That's what people think of now when they see this movie. But yeah, there you go. I don't know if it affects your rating of the movie, Michael. We'll see. Are you gonna give it a rating now? You gonna conclude?
I'm happy to conclude. So basically, the film overall is, it's really difficult to conclude on this as a film because obviously, as a film, it is bad. I would not want to watch this film again. There is no way, all of the ways that I could possibly enjoy a film are basically absent from this, apart from, you could say the characterization is sort of well handled in terms of, Linda's desires being very clearly defined. And also the doctor, psychiatrist guy is, quite well established as a character and is kind of charismatic and all that stuff. But the acting is terrible, laughably so, and the music is ridiculous and the premise is silly. Obviously, you could say, well, the creativity of it kind of adds something to it, but in terms of enjoying it as a movie, I don't know. I really don't know what to give it. I guess I'm gonna give it any rating I give it would be kind of meaningless, but I guess I'm just gonna give it a high 1. I'm gonna give it a high. I'm gonna give it a 1 because I don't think it really qualifies as a film to be enjoyed. I'm gonna give it a high 1 because I do think some of the stuff is kind of good, the things I already said.
Okay, wow.
And also, I guess I don't I think on some level I'm not offended. Well, I'm not offended by it in the sense that it's not trying to be a good film.
Exactly.
If, for example, let's say, The Rise of Skywalker had this same level of acting, I'd be like, oh wow, this is offensive because they tried to make... I should say, of course, actually, I didn't mention what you asked whether or not the kind of abuse stuff would affect my rating. And I guess the answer is no. But obviously the abuse was bad. And while, I was going to say, I don't know if it's a he said, she said thing. I mean, it seems like it's generally just accepted. And to be honest, it probably is true because, like you said, this was the mafia controlling things. It's not surprising, really, that the porn industry does have varying degrees of kind of coerciveness.
It's not surprising to hear that, is it?
Yeah, well, I don't know. Yeah, I feel like
I think it would be surprising to hear that if a mate a famous porn star now that happened to them now. So I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna again take a comment from xhamster.com. Which is from Plowman. Seems so dated now. We've come a long way in 50 years. Best thing we have lost the jazz combo in the corner of the room playing crap every time the fucking starts. That always annoyed me. So yeah. Bring back to the 60s says Dolly Sharp has such an attractive and sexy face. It is a shame that she didn't have a voluptuous body to match it.
Who's Dolly Sharp? Is she the older woman?
Yeah,
kind of a friend. Yeah,
yeah, I think so. The friend. Yeah, wow. Somebody's saying that Linda is full of shit.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I'll just say, look, it's obviously a very famous movie. It helps get. I don't know if it helped the sexual liberation of America or making porn movies more artistic. I don't know, maybe it did because this one certainly isn't, but maybe it did help in some way. But yeah, it's I'm gonna give this a 2 out of 10. It's a bad movie with bad plot, bad acting, but yeah, obviously that's what you expect. And it's just crazy to me that this got so much attention. And again, I feel harsh with slating this movie and making it a 2 out of 10, but hey, it has this reputation. Of course, it's a famous movie.
Yeah.
It should never have been as successful as it was because it's very shit. but there you go. It wasn't trying to be this famous movie. It was trying, they were trying to sell some porn, and it became much bigger than anyone anticipated. So anyway, Michael, what are we reviewing next week?
Well, you already hinted at it. I mean, well, no, not hinted. You already said it. We're doing Boogie Nights.
Boogie Nights, yes. So join us for that to look back at that era. 25-year anniversary of that. Anyway, who have you been, Michael?
I've been Michael.
I've been Luke, and thanks for listening to our review of Deep Throat. An enjoyable experience for all, I'll say. What do you think?
Yes, definitely. All right. Goodbye.
Bye.